Arsenal have lifted the Premier League trophy. And I am just, more than anything, I am just so happy to see some of our key players finally put their hands on that trophy. Because one thing is celebrating and feeling the emotions, and we've been through that. We've talked about it. We've seen the scenes. Let's not even mention it. But then another thing is actually seeing Saliba, Gabriel, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Ben White, a lot of these players who have been with us now for years, who have been feeling, these emotions with us for years, being able to finally see these guys put their hands on that Premier League trophy and lift it. What a sight to see, man. What an image. Truly. So many of those guys deserve it, bro. So many of them deserve it. And listen, I recognize that there's a lot of players that came in this year that played a very big part. I think Zubimendi, despite the drop off in quality, the amount of minutes that he played, the amount of games that he played for the first, season and a half, or 75, 80% of the season, was immense, as some, key moments as well. But the guys who have fallen short with us year after year after year after year after year, to see them finally put their hands on that trophy means so much. It means so much. And I was just so happy to be able to watch that and see that, because it really meant a lot. Regarding the game itself, I don't think there's anything to talk about. There's no point to that. In fact, I think one of the reasons that took a while to get this video out is because I was trying to think about, like, what to do here. Am I just going to waffle for 10 minutes about seeing things that, it just becomes like the same video after a while. And it feels natural to want to reflect on the season, reflect on the title, what it means, and all these things. But it's also feels premature to do that, considering the fact that we have the Champions League final on the Saturday. So what I'm going to do, if you will allow me, is just talk about just the Premier League in isolation, about English football in isolation. I know we're still in celebration mode. I don't want to be the guy that says, all right, stop celebrating. Let's lock in now. But there is a reality. Champions League final is on Saturday. And then 10 days later, guys, it's the World Cup. And the Arsenal narrative, the Arsenal story, whether the historic season, the first trophy in 22 years, or potentially Arsenal's first Champions League, trophy ever, all these things are going to be brushed aside just a week after, because it's the World Cup. And so there's no real time to do it other than now. And regarding the Premier League, I genuinely believe that this one was a bit long overdue. I felt unlucky when we dropped the Premier League title in the 2022-23 season. I think maybe drop is not the right word, but fell short, because I think by far we were the best team. The level of football that we were playing, the way we were putting teams apart, I think we felt a bit unlucky. But the reality is that we never really needed to be in those conversations. The following season, I think we won 18 out of the 19 games in the run-in and still fall short, with City winning all of their 19 games, which is just ridiculous when you think about it. But it's a season afterwards, and some of the transfers that were made in the seasons before that you kind of, begin to ask questions. When City fell off drastically and Arne Slot came in with Liverpool and kind of just won the league by January, it was pretty obvious that they had won it. It was that particular season that I thought to myself, like, how have these lot gone ahead and won it? Like, this trophy should have been ours. We should have had a Premier League title by now. And had we been a bit wiser in the market and not brought in this player, not brought this one, not brought this one, brought this guy in instead, I think we all know what kind of transfers we look back on and we think that was, silly business. I don't need to mention those players now, especially when they have Premier League medals around their necks. But I felt a bit cheated. And so I believe that this Premier League title was a bit long overdue. And in fact, I said in a couple of in a video a couple of weeks, maybe even months ago, when we were going through a very dark patch, I had said that Mikel needed to do something a lot more than just a Premier League trophy this season for it to actually count for something. Because when you look at the level of the squad, the quality that we had in depth, and the fact that we were rather the clear favorites in every single competition, when you look at the run-ins that we had in the Champions League and the FA Cup, and you look at the level of opposition around you in the Premier League, you thought, we have to bring minimum 2 trophies home. Minimum, at least an FA Cup and a Premier League or something like that, minimum. So for us to lose to Southampton the way that we did, for us to go out with a whimper in the EFL Cup final, and then to let City back into a Premier League title that, let's be real, they should have never even had a sniff of. I objectively speaking, it should be an underwhelming season, and I thought it would be. But as a fan, ultimately, the emotions of seeing your club win the league title after 22 years, you can't separate it. I'm able to recognize how happy I am with the season. I'm able to recognize how grateful I am to Mikel and to these players and all these things. But at the same time, I can put those emotions to the side and be objective and say that, you know, this the league should have been wrapped up with months ago. And maybe I can forgive some poor transfer decisions and the fact that we should have done a little bit more this season. And listen, went on Saturday and, I got to put my tongue in my ass. You know what I mean? But when it comes to domestic competition, moving forward, this needs to be the new standard. This needs to be the baseline. It has been a part of Arsenal's history for a very long time to win the odd league here and there. Win a league title, go 10 years without winning one, win another one, maybe then go 3-4 years, challenge. But Arsenal has never really been the team in its history, I think apart from the Oliver Chapman years, to truly have a sustained period of dominance where they were winning 3 out of 5 Premier League titles, or they were winning back to back, or 3 in a row, or all these things. They've never really done it. And the time to do that is now. And the reason I say that is because when I look across the rest of the Premier League landscape, I see an unproven Michael Carrick with Manchester United, who is going to be playing a game every 3 weeks and who their best player is already in their 30s. I look at an Enzo Maresca who's taking over Guardiola. This is not going to be the same City of old, and the jury's still going to be out as to whether or not it's going to work out for them. I'm seeing a Liverpool with a lot of questions surrounding Arne Slot. It seems like a lot of the fan base as well isn't really too much singing his praises. I can only imagine a very poor period, and it can be a very toxic environment there. I'm seeing a Xabi Alonso who left a very, very toxic dressing room into Real Madrid and has gone into what has been an incredibly toxic environment over at Chelsea. I struggle to make sense of that appointment for him, a manager, and whether or not that's going to make sense for Chelsea as a whole. And then I look at a Tottenham that, I don't even need to banter them or have been in the mud. So before a single ball has been kicked, before a single transfer has been made, before a single preseason game has been played, you have to look at it as like, this is Arsenal's time and Arsenal's moment to not only go back to back, but to kick on and really put a 3 to 5 year gap on all these other teams in terms of transfers and rebuilds and putting themselves in a position to actually be able to challenge Arsenal across 38 games. Now is the time to do that, and that needs to be the new objective of this football club. And this needs to be the new standard of this fan base. Because let's be real, guys. The reason why this league title means so much to us, it's because of the fact that it's been 22 years. If we were a team like Manchester City that's been winning the league almost every single year, I think we would all look at this season and think to ourselves, how did we have that run-in the FA Cup final? How did we have that run-in the Champions League final? And we only walked away with the league. How was that possible? Of course, result pending on Saturday. But I think if we're all honest with ourselves, that's why it means so much to us. But I don't want to go another 22 years without winning the league. I don't want to just win one and drop off and maybe compete again in a few years' time. I don't want that. I want this club to take its rightful place as a proper big team that is competing for major honors year in, year out. The new objective for this football club should be to win the Premier League and then some. Go for the FA Cup, go for the double, go for the domestic treble, go for the actual treble, go for the Champions League. Semi-final minimum every single year and every single competition needs to be the new objective. And it starts with us, the fans. Celebrate, enjoy it. Of course, we have Saturday to look forward to, and that's going to change the conversation and our perspective and the way we talk about the season as a whole drastically. But regarding English football as a whole, this is our time. This is our time to become that new dynasty, to become that new team with a sustained period of dominance. This is our time, and we can't let that go to waste. That is the new standard for this football club. That's how I will be judging and talking about this football club in the season to come. And I hope that the majority of our fan base, or at least the ones who watch this, the few of you that do, are on that same page. But for now, let's continue to enjoy it. Let's continue to celebrate. But I will be doing a preview to the PSG final. I'm just going to talk about kind of what different lineups I think we should look at, what the struggles are going to be, what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are for both us as well as PSG. and ultimately what I hope that we get out of that particular game and what it will mean to us and our season and to our history as a whole. So keep an eye tuned out for that one. I think I'll drop maybe on a Thursday. I think that's a good time, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on this particular season so far, what it means to you, and I actually do have a question. Win or lose that Champions League final, does that affect at all how you feel about this season? Does it affect your emotions and your feelings at all? Or was this trophy enough for you to call it success? Would love to know what you think. So let me know.